Welcome to the Recruitment Rollercoaster podcast. My name is Hisham Azuz, and today I'm joined by Tom Cokill, who is one of the founders of Logical Resources FMCG, who are a specialist FMCG recruitment business.
Good afternoon.
Based in Leeds.
Mighty Leeds.
To set the scene, it's a unique office.
It's like, I call it the time machine because it's like going back to the 1970s.
Yeah. So for those that can't see, we're in a room where in front of us we've got some sort of graffiti, which is that the Leeds football ground?
Yeah, so it's basically Leeds. So you've got our office on there with a little window. That's our window.
Okay, I didn't see that.
And then you've got Ellen Road, you've got the arena, the town hall. Yeah. And some of the other major buildings. One of the guys in the office is just does graffiti in his spare time.
Can't see the prison on there, mate.
No, we left the prison out, surprisingly. Didn't quite think it fit with what we were going for.
But then, so we're in a cool, quirky room. I think we've got a really cool office, cool building. First time in Leeds.
Welcome.
And for those that may or may not have listened or know, but me and Tom's business partner Sam sat down, which seems like an absolute lifetime ago, back when I was obviously Hoxo Media, and we was in the studio there. It was a very, 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 very hot day.
Oh, we recorded that video, didn't we?
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, we were sweating.
So Tom and Sam came down to record some video content, and it just happened to be like just a crazy hot day. And there was fans had to be used. You had to be hydrated.
We were toweling down in between shots.
Oh my god, it's crazy. So I think obviously we've sat down before, Tom, so people may have some context. But I guess why don't you just share with everyone sort of where you're at now as a business, what you specialise in, just make that crystal clear, and then we'll just sort of break down and talk about sort of the journey up until now.
Cool. So we recruit within consumer. So I always say, if you go into Asda, anything you can buy on the shelves in Asda, we recruit for the companies that make and supply those products, basically. So the big names are Mars, Unilever, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. I'm not saying we recruit for all of those, but those are the sort of your big brands, right through to Greencore and Cranswick, who make all the sandwiches you might buy at the food-to-go counter. We grew up recruiting their national account managers and marketing people. However, in the last 2 years, we've expanded that. So we look after supply chain, we can do technical, sort of new product development, we can do engineering and operations and production, and we also are looking at heavily going into e-commerce. I think that's going to be the next big step for us. Yeah, so companies that operate purely
retail's
online.
Obviously having a big.
It's just the next logical step, really. I think it's where everybody's attention is. There's a lot of jobs in it. It fits nicely because all these e-commerce companies are still selling consumer products. It's just another route to market. So we need to we're learning about it at the moment and trying to understand where we could fit in and what we could provide for these companies that the big boys aren't doing, because that tends to be our strategies.
So started the business with Sam.
Yep.
Obviously who you met in your recruitment days, right?
Yeah, so Sam used to work for me. He hates me saying that.
Is he?
Yeah, so I was his boss.
Oh yeah.
I say boss. He did whatever he wanted. He made more money than everybody else. he just kind of flounced about doing whatever he wanted.
So started the business with Sam. What's that? How many years ago now?
5 years last week.
5 years last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
5 years. And obviously, where you are now as a business, in terms of how many people do you have now in the business?
25 full time, and then we use people on an ad hoc basis that we need, basically. We need them. But so it's 25 split up. We've just hired an ops manager. I think that's that was a sort of realising we're like a grown-up business now. That we actually, that we can't do it all ourselves.
Obviously, you hear a lot from people where, especially when you start with another person, knowing each other's strengths. Like, are you someone who's good at the operations, or is it more Sam?
I would say either of us are good at it, but it all got put on my shoulders.
Really?
And I'm literally the world's worst administrator, so I'm not very organised.
So when did you hire that person?
About 2 months ago.
How's it been since?
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, he's just everything. His goal is to move into sort of a finance and operations leadership position in the company. So he's got lots of ops experience within recruitment, so he knows how to run a recruitment company from the internal aspects. But for his development, we're going to put him through all his accountancy exams, and we're going to support him on that. We've known him for a long time. He's a good mate of our head of marketing. So,
awesome.
So for me, it was about bringing somebody in who can grow with the business. And I'd rather somebody who, not bring in some, super expensive finance director, in which we don't really need, but I want somebody who can really understand the financial side of the business, because again, I'm not an accountant, neither is Sam. We're recruiters. That's what we're good at. So what we're trying to do is just outsource all the jobs we've been doing that we're not necessarily very good at.
Yeah.
So we can continue recruiting.
So timeline of things just happened. So I think when we last sat down, which was like 18 months ago, 2 years ago, where was you at headcount wise?
I think we were at 4 people. I think there was me, Sam, Aidan, Farad, and maybe Connor.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Connor was with us then.
So that's like some significant.
But we came to see you because we wanted to hire people, and you were filming our hiring video.
Yeah.
So it was really early days from that point.
That's what I mean. So like, there's been some significant growth.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 and a bit years.
Yeah.
And how, just quickly, just for everyone, because like I don't always like to, because I think it's come up quite a lot where, obviously in just today's world, headcount can easily be the thing that you talk about. That doesn't necessarily mean your business is more profitable or anything, right? So, let's get to it. Was you more, like, obviously 4 or 5 people, profits taken a hit, right?
Profit per head was higher. Obviously, we make more money now.
Yeah.
But the percentage is lower. But, we haven't got investors. We've got, me and Sam are the owner shareholders. For us, it's, we earn a nice living now. I've got enough money. It's not about that for me anymore. And to be honest, it never has been. I'm not massively money motivated, but past the point, I need enough to live off. And I like some nice things. I like decent holidays. But to me, it's about growing it. So this year versus last year is probably the biggest difference. So we made a lot of money last year. And instead of taking it all, we thought, right, we're going to put it all back in. We're going to hire a lot of people. So I think, sort of from April onwards, I think we've added probably like 7 people. And they're all bedding in. And some of them aren't some of them aren't fee earners. There's 3 people that we've hired this year who don't earn fees. They're administrators, they're marketing. So that, they're always going to be a cost. And the other people we've hired, it takes time. So, they're doing okay, but you've got to give them time to bed in. So our profit has gone down this year as a percentage, but again, we're making more money. Because all the guys we hired the year before are now at that place where they're actually hitting target, rather because they've had their year to bed in, learn the job, build their customer base, network, and everything else. So they're now making money, and I think that's how it's always going to be.
So why didn't you and Sam just decide to keep it a small business and keep it?
We always thought that's what it'd be, because we just didn't know what we were capable of and what we really wanted. Sam wanted to set up a business up because he's super ambitious, and he's not very good at taking orders. He's his own man, and he just wanted to get on with it and thought he could do it better than everybody else on his own, and he can. So it's a fair play to him. Mine was completely different. Mine was more of a work-life balance thing. Yeah. My wife got pregnant. They wouldn't give me any flexibility at work, so I just resigned. So, and thought, my only option is to work for myself. Plus, I'm not a great employee. So I tend to just do, again, whatever I like. So I was always destined, I think, to become my own boss, because I'm just not very good at doing as I'm told.
But why? So when you had a really good year last year, why didn't you and Sam go out, buy the nice cars? Heard you bought a nice house.
I have just bought a house, but again, my wife's quite successul, so it's not like me flashing cash. My wife's a very successful business person.
Why did you put it back into the business?
Because after year 2, we kind of made that decision that, let's grow this. We were actually quite good at this.
After year 2 you did?
Yeah, we were like, we're actually all right at this. We can do this. We've got the capability, and we're really enjoying it. And we're going to build, but we're not going to just do the old typical recruitment thing of hire 10 people, hope to work out. We're going to take our time. We're going to, invest in our staff. We're going to try and build a decent business. It doesn't have to be the biggest. It doesn't have to be the most profitable. Just a decent, solid business that delivers for its customers and creates opportunities for its employees. So that is basically our mission. Those 2 principles: deliver for our customers and create opportunities for our employees. That's what drives this company. Those 2 things. Everything else, you do those 2 things, everything takes care of itself.
Did you know that at the beginning?
No, because at the beginning I was just like, how can I make an income to cover my personal costs?
So I always, because whenever I speak to people about a bit further down the line in terms of having a recruitment business or thinking about starting it, obviously it's like, how much of a plan do I need? And something that came out of a conversation recently was, plan's great, but that can change. I think the most important thing is purpose. and like knowing what that is.
It's a great. I love it. I like that a lot. No, perfect. Well, we don't plan. We're doing it now.
We don't plan
because we're now at the point where we can't carry everybody.
Yeah. And when you say carry, you mean in terms of you and Sam being the biggest fee earners?
Yeah, so we can't cover everybody's billings anymore and grow the business that way. So, and to be fair, we've got a good solid core of consistent billers now.
Yeah.
And we're adding to that, and we're training those people up and bringing yourself in to help train our future leaders, our management team that are hopefully going to build their own teams under them. So we've got to get a bit more strategic, a bit more grown up, a bit more sort of commercial about how we run the business to make sure that we don't like fuck it up basically.
Yeah.
And we've got people relying on us.
I had when I sat down with a guy, a chap called Tim. He scaled his business over, I think, a 4-year period from him working from home to, now sort of 20, 30 people. And he said a big part of that is you got to implement processes when before you didn't have processes.
I'm quite process driven, so that's never been a problem for me.
Really?
I like them. Yeah, I like a process. I like to understand how something works.
Yeah.
So I do like that. Sam's a bit more play it by ear.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, he's awesome at just making it happen. So the bringing in Jack to run our operations has been really good because the guy is literally like the most organised man in the world. He's got loads of good ideas, and he's a good communicator. So he's implementing a lot of processes. So he's taking a lot of work off my desk. So all the finance, all the accounts, all the billing, credit control, just even things like kitchen rotas, everything, just all the small stuff that just takes up your time. So he's taking all that away, so I can focus on managing my little team.
How difficult was that to let go of those things?
Oh, it's not a problem at all.
Really?
No, not a problem at
But
all. I'm
quite
happy to delegate.
Was there a challenge? Was there a challenge in like actually understanding what to delegate or not?
No, because I'm quite simple. I want to be a recruiter.
Yeah.
So I appreciate, you've got the director title of running the company, and I spend a lot of time on that. And as we get bigger, I know that will take up more time. Yeah. But Sam's really good at that piece. Yeah. So I like recruiting. I like filling jobs. I like developing customers and bringing them in and growing the business that we do with them. So that's what I love to do. So the more I can
do that,
create a time for me to do that. That's it's going to make me happy. As we get bigger, I appreciate I'm going to have to do less and less of that. Yeah. And run the company. Which again is a challenge because I think I'll always do business development.
Really?
I love networking.
You just wanted to sell?
Yeah, I love being out. I like selling. I like getting to know people. Yeah. I'm fascinated by how all these companies work, what's good about them, what they need to improve. I love going on a factory visit, seeing how a production line works. I just love it all. It's what I've done I've only ever done recruitment. It's what I've done for 15 years now, and I am passionate about it. But there's going to become a time where I probably don't do any recruitment anymore. But I'm clinging on.
If I'm listening right now and I'm thinking, you know what, sort of delegating all those sort of things that Tom listed there, that sounds like a really good idea. But like, when would be? I don't know. Do you wish you made that hire earlier?
No, it's when you get. For me, it's because that's a cost centre now. There's no profit.
Yeah.
I mean, you save us money. Jack's already saved us quite a bit of money on certain things, but.
When should you make that hire?
I call them. There's certain jobs that are core hires, and then you've got luxury hires.
Okay.
And Jack's our first luxury hire. So no, because everybody else is like, you can't run the business without them. Yeah. But then for me, there's hires that you can run the business without them, but if you hire them, they're going to make the business better. I think you've got to get to a certain point.
What's that point? What was the point that you got to?
It's a profit level for me. It's really? How much, can we afford to pay his salaries, and can we give him an opportunity to develop in the business? So if I'm just bringing him in on what he's on and you're going to be doing the exact same job for the next 10 years, he's not going to stay very long, is he? I've got to create an opportunity for him. So hence the whole getting him to the board with the finance director. So that's his plan, hopefully. And that's what he's working towards. And it's the same with everybody. I don't hire anybody unless I can, just give them a progression plan. It's like, you do this, this, and this. Everybody else achieves what they need to achieve. We can create these opportunities for you, and that's how we do it. And I like that. I really enjoy doing that.
No, I just think that's interesting because I think especially as you're going through that journey of 4 or 5 heads, 10 heads, more.
It's difficult now.
I feel like that someone dedicated to those types of tasks and responsibilities will enable the people listening to spend more time on what they need to.
Yeah, I'd say it was quite easy up to 15.
Was it?
We didn't struggle. It was all natural. We'd had people
What was easy though?
Just running the company,
Running
and
the
growing
business.
the business. And we're really lucky that 5 years in, I think we've had 5 people leave in the whole time we've been working. One's gone to another recruiter. The rest have just left recruitment because it just wasn't for them for whatever reason. So 0 to 15 was or 2 to 15 was fairly straightforward. Like I say, if somebody had a bad month, the core billers had enough money to cover them. You know, we're making enough money to cover any sort of people who had poor starts or, you know, took them a bit longer to get up to speed. Now, sort of 15 to 25, we're now at the point where it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more time consuming. There's a lot more work you have to do outside of just filling jobs.
Yeah.
There's a lot more cost implications. You know, our costs have gone up massively.
Yeah.
So those are things you've got to consider, and it's just growing pains. You've just got to, you've got to put it on growing pains. You've just got to push forward, basically.
And how do you ensure you, back to the point now of having some really good people around you and stuff, like your employees? How important is it for you to communicate what's going on and why you're getting more people in and these types of things? How have you gone about that?
Yeah, so we're quite transparent with everything.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I can sense that being in the office.
Yeah, most of the people are a mate of a mate who work for us. So apart from, I think, 3, everybody's come through internal referral that we've hired. So that helps.
Why does that help?
Well, because everybody kind of feels like they know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that really helps. And because we've all been together so long and not many people leave, we're quite tight-knit. So there's a lot of trust there.
Yeah.
But in terms of just sort of things that we do, we have a monthly town hall, and I hate the name town hall, but it's actually a really good way of describing what it is. Where basically Sam or I'll present the month figures, what we've done, highlights, employee of the month. We have a values award every month for who's like just be more like them. Basically, the award is like they're just smashing the values out of the park, and all that sort of good stuff. And then basically me and Sam leave. And they do a town hall, which one of their future leaders will run, and they basically have a range of topics every month that they'll discuss as a team, and feed, and then the management, future leaders will feed that back to us, and then it's up to us to implement the changes that their suggestion. If and it's advisory. We can't do everything, but we leave simply because. As much as we think we get on with everybody, there is still that hierarchy there, isn't there? And people aren't going to be as honest as they could be if we're sat in the room like beady eyeing them. So so we leave, go have a pint somewhere or something, and
What are some of the things that have come off the back of that then that have been interesting or been really impactful?
So there's quite a few things that we've changed. So we were doing a lot of incentives, a lot of like small incentives, and then one big one. So we changed that because. The small incentives weren't really enough to motivate people. Nobody really
like
cared
Amazon
about
vouchers
them.
And that.
Yeah, but just a lot of it was cash. Here's some cash. So we've split that now. So this year we've done two big incentives basically.
Yeah.
One was skiing, which we're going next week, and the other one is like a summer trip somewhere. But we always let the team decide where we're going. So last year we went to Ibiza, which was my first time. Yeah, so typical. I've never been to Ibiza before. It was an eye opener.
Good.
Yeah, it was an eye opener. Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, I did 2 days and then flew home. Really? And the rest stayed for 3 because I'm too old for that. I can't hack it. But yeah, so that was good. I don't know what we'll do this year.
Where did that come from? Did people say that they don't think the incentives were that great, or?
Yeah, basically just that we had too many.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it was all a bit jumbled up.
Yeah.
There wasn't a process or consistency to the incentives. A lot of them were just ad hoc.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're currently doing it now, and to be honest, tomorrow's town hall is the big one is about next year's incentives because our year finishes in 2 months.
Yeah.
So it's about next year's incentives and planning for that. Another thing was about sort of personal development plans.
Okay.
So the feedback was that we weren't focusing on that enough, on individual. We're really focused on team. I think we're really good at collective movement and collective development rather than individuals. So we
and that came off the back of a town hall.
Yeah, basically just a feedback forum. Yeah, just speaking to the team and understanding more about what they need as individuals. So that's more. So we're planning that now.
Awesome.
some of the topics in tomorrow's things like dress code, because we don't have one, and it's been abused.
Really?
Literally, people turning up in dressing gowns and slippers. So yeah,
wow.
So there's a limit, I think, and I just think it's about bringing your best self to work. And I
don't.
If you're rolling out of bed, basically, joggers and coming to work, I just don't think you're in the right frame.
Yeah,
but what I don't want to do is impose the way I think.
So it's just like something that you recognise and you're just bringing it up.
But I'll let them decide, because I'm not a dictator.
That's an interesting part, right?
Yeah, I just happen to set the company up.
So what happened?
It's we're a team, so it's got to be.
How long have you been doing these sort of town halls?
Since Christmas. So.
Oh really?
Just before Christmas.
So 2018 Christmas.
No. So literally last year. So last December.
Oh wow.
We've always done the month end, and we've always had a bit of feedback. But
it hasn't
I've
been
formalised it now, and I've removed me and Sam.
And that was was that a learning then?
Yeah, I just think we just weren't getting the feedback. I just didn't think we were getting honest feedback. I think people were being too PC and worrying a bit too much. If I say this, I might be judged.
They want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, so it's all. They know that when Ben's running it this month. When Ben comes to us with the feedback, it's not like who said that.
Yeah,
there'll be none of that. It'll just be like, right. So this is what generally we'll vote on things, and I'm allowing them to do it because I just think it's like I say we're a team. So you've got to move forward as a team, and then my job as the leader is just to implement the change.
It can drive more impact though, things can change if it's coming from them, right? And they're driving it.
And it's that whole adage,
Tom happy.
People are so much more likely to do things if they think it's their idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So let them come up with the ideas, and if we think they'll really work, and we can make them work, and we can afford to make them work, if there's a cost behind them, they're much more likely to really take hold of it. If it's their idea, so that's the thing.
Was it hard to do that at the beginning though, or that just came quite naturally to was you quite comfortable with just letting these people talk?
I'm not a control freak in any way.
Really?
I'm good at delegating, so the less decisions I have to make, the better for me, basically.
So if I'm listening right now and I'm like, right, this sounds like a good idea. I'm a smaller business. Like right now, it's probably like you said, a bit jumbled. Maybe even the monthly meetings are a bit jumbled and stuff like that. What would you suggest would be it's just from over the last couple of months of stuff that you've recognised?
Well, there's little things like I'm not a good presenter. I'm not very good at presenting. I'm great at talking, but you give me a structure, and I have to screen, I have to look at and talk about. I'm just no good at it. Yeah. So I don't do the presentations. Sam does the presentations. Okay. For stuff
firstly, know if you're actually decent at presentations, communicating.
And at the end of the day, you hired all your staff, right? Yeah. So if you don't rate them enough to help you make decisions, you shouldn't have hired them in the first place. Yeah. Why are you hiring these people if you don't rate them? If you're not gonna, do you know what I mean? So hire people that you trust to give you advice and to have an impact in your business, other than just the small little narrow job you've hired them to do. Don't hire them for the business, especially in small businesses. We're all literally sat in a room staring at each other all day. It's not like I'm on a top floor and I don't see anybody. We're all really close. Everybody's got the same experience here.
Yeah. So know if you're a good presenter.
Yeah, just know what you're good at, and be honest, and just be humble about what you crap at, basically. And then my list is very long. Really? So I'm not a great man manager. I'm not a great direct man manager. Yeah. I'm not into the detail at all. So I bring people in to do that for me.
Yeah. So I guess if you're not having some sort of monthly communication with your business, if you're a smaller business, I think definitely start doing.
Any.
I think you could even apply that to your team within the business, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're working for a Hayes or a Michael Page, and I'm sure they'll have office monthly meetings. But if you're managing a team of 4 people, or whatever size it might be, how are you good? You need to feed back to them every month how they're doing, and they need to be able to feed back to you how you're doing. And there's no better way to do that than either you go for lunch once a month, or you sit around a screen and you do a presentation. Yeah,
I'm just trying to think the business I was in when we was around the sort of 12 people mark. Like again, there wasn't much structure. Not that we needed like the perfect structure, but I think it would have been really good to sort of have a monthly sort of barometer of like, guys, we did this great this month, or maybe we should think about this or whatever. Because I think that's a great thing about working in a smaller business. I think that if I worked in your business, I have direct access to you. So if I was really passionate, I had a really strong opinion about feedback around something, then I have the possibility to change that.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that's such a valuable thing to have.
100%.
And a lot more people need to maximise that. and
Yeah.
communicate that.
Especially in small businesses.
That's what I mean.
You know, just check your ego, mate. If you think you're some sort of CEO when you've got 10 staff, you know, do you know what I mean? It's like
It looks good on LinkedIn though, doesn't it?
more of yeah,
CEO.
CEOs and all this sort of stuff. I mean, mine's founder. And it's like, I still like,
It's really,
it makes me cringe. But
it's really
I'm
weird.
quite proud of founding a company. You know, if you speak to anybody who knew me before I set this business up, I am literally like the last guy that they would have thought, you know, I'm not that guy. I shouldn't be doing this job by all accounts. You know what I mean? I should have failed. You know, I'm not the person on the top of anybody's list to have done this, and I couldn't have done it without Sam. You know, and Sam couldn't have, hopefully I'd like to think he couldn't have done it without me. I do think there's a compliment there. But we've got to where we are. By no way, we've not made it by any means. We're literally step one of the ladder. But you know, I think we're going in the right direction. But yeah, I think the problem with a lot of it, and especially in this industry, is ego. There's just so many big egos, and I've worked with so many big egos, and it's almost like the title matters to them more than anything. They've got this great title, and they've got 10 staff, and it's like, yeah, but it's like they don't see the responsibility they've got. So that's my biggest pressure. That's what I worry about at night. Is like, I've got to pay wages at the end of the month. Do you know what I mean? That's the worry. I've got to pay everybody's wages. I've got to pay these bills, and that's what you worry about on an evening. It goes from, I really hope that guy takes that job that you had when you were a consultant. I've still got that because I still fill a lot of jobs. But now
how have you got better at dealing with that?
I don't know. I had my best ever year last year.
Really?
Yeah, my biggest ever
Your
billing
best year,
performance. It's still nothing impressive.
Come on,
it's like
mate.
195.
Okay.
So yes, I've never broke 200.
Really?
But it was like, for me, that's legit. That's like awesome. I've never been a massive biller. I give away a lot. Really? So yeah, I'm good at getting the client on. Yeah. I'm good at opening the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little bit, because I'm a bit haphazard. I'm not great at the whole process, even though I've written the process. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
so
I've never
been.
What parts you're good at?
Yeah. So I don't do a huge amount of resourcing anymore. So I've teams of people. I posted on LinkedIn today about Sarah helping us with this new client. We've filled 3 jobs. Yeah. Competitive brief, and she's just smashed it out of the park with it and filled all 3 jobs. So
how have you got better at dealing with the fact that you're now paying more wages then? How have you dealt with that? Because that's obviously that may prevent people from wanting to grow their business. Like, how you've just
got to make sure you've got to be on it. You've just got to make sure that you're just on top of those things. And again, hiring people who are good at that. So Jack again coming in and helping us with the credit control. So we're making sure that the money we're owed is getting paid in. That invoices have been sent on time. All that it's that consistency of administration of the business. Basically, that's how you deal with that. Because if you're a week before payday and you aren't billed enough to pay those wages, then you need to start really worrying about whether you're running your business properly. Our problem has never been that. It's only ever been the fact that our credit control's out of control. Like we're just
getting invoiced.
Yeah, just getting paid. If anybody asked me before I set up, what do you think will be the toughest part of owning a business? I'd have thought it'd be like getting a company to convince sales directors of big companies to use like an unknown, untested company. But it's 100% getting paid is the hardest thing. Getting companies to pay you. The big companies are the worst. Want like 90-day payment.
The thing is, as an employee, you don't realise that.
You don't know, and it's educating them. But again, we're quite open with it. So
really?
Everybody. So Jack oversees it all, but everybody has to chase their own debt.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. That's your customer. Why wouldn't you?
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
they always done that.
They owe you money.
Have you always done that?
Yeah, I've always chased my own debt. Why would I let somebody else do it? They might bring them up and be really arsey with them and like ruin my relationship. Yeah. So I can manage that. So if I had a client owes me 10 grand, I'm going to bring them like, you need to pay me. I've delivered for you. I've done what you asked me to do. It's time to pay.
You get your consultants to do that?
Yeah, 100%. That's their money. Do you want paying your commission?
Are you not paying commission if they haven't got their?
Our commission structure. You paid once the invoice is paid.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, come on. Who runs it? What happens if they don't pay?
Mate, I'm pretty sure I got commission without the invoice being paid.
Yeah, I mean, I did at Hayes, but Hayes is like they're £1 billion. They can afford that. Nah, I think you're on a hide into nothing in a small company if you're paying out commissions.
I think that's a good. I think it encourages people to have good business commercial understanding of it's not just a done deal once. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a good thing to.
There's so many recruiters out there and recruitment companies who are like, it's like running your own business, managing your own desk, and then basically come in and they micromanage the hell out of you, and then they take all the actual business from you. And do it all in the background. So, if you want to run your own desk, that's part of the processes. You make a placement, you agree your terms, you agree payment terms, you invoice. We send the invoices because that's all done centrally. But then, you should know when that invoice is due, and you should be speaking to your clients and basically saying, like that payment's due next week. Are we okay for payment? And if it's late, can we get that paid? Because that's on you. That's it's your business, and we pay good commissions. So it's people want to get paid that commission.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. It's just interesting. So that's definitely been the biggest challenge. That's
getting paid.
Don't expect that though, do you?
It's big companies as well. All these ones that you see all their adverts, and they're all about supporting little companies and bullshit.
There must be just so many people that you have to speak to and stuff, isn't there?
And a lot of these, it's like their accounts departments, not in this country, and it's just an email, and nobody will take a call. And it's just not. But we've got some great clients. I mean, I'm not slagging our customers off, but some of them.
But but it's a challenge.
Companies we don't work with anymore because
it's a challenge you make me think about, though, isn't it? That it's like, well, actually, okay, you've done that deal, but when you're getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And nobody should be embarrassed or ashamed of being asked to be paid for the work they've done.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't walk into Greg's and buy a sandwich and then pay for it 3 weeks later, do you? And the girl behind the counter or the bloke behind the counter is not having a go at you. He's not embarrassed to take the money off you. It's just a transaction. You should be proud to be paid for the work you've done.
What? So on this topic then. So you had your best year last year.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Do you know what? I was a bit more ruthless last year. In terms of because we split fees, so because we all work in the same markets and we're all filling pretty much the same job with the different customers, we do a lot of split fees. So a fee is made up 50% to the candidate, 50% to the client. If you own both,
happy days.
You get the 100%. And because I'm better at the BD side, I'm better at the client side, I generally get the job in, fire it out to everybody. They send me the CVs, people they've interviewed, people they know, my candidate's great for this role, blah, blah, blah. And they get half the fee. Whereas last year I filled a lot more of my own jobs. And I managed, I won't name the client, but I managed to take a client that I'd been working with for 3 years as one of 5 on their PSL. And over that 3 years, I sent them basically a breakdown that every job they briefed out to agency I filled. So I filled every single job. So it was like, just get rid of the other 4. I'll do you a better rate as to give it all to me exclusive. And I built like literally half of my fees with that one customer. Yeah. So, and to be honest, they're awesome as well. So it's a great business to work with.
So what you're talking about there is sort of focusing on what your strengths are.
Yeah.
And then so it's interesting that I think it's come up a couple of times, sort of your experience or people's opinions on the sort of 180 sort of model, which is what you're just talking about, right? So if you've got that in your business then, because obviously, So
we're quite flexible. If somebody's really good at the full 360, crack on, fill your own jobs. I have no issue with that. But we have a talent management team as well, so people whose job it is just to manage our candidates.
How have you found that impact?
Really good, really good. So the sell internally is because the talent managers, their fee is such, their internal fee, they just take £1,000 off the full fee, and obviously they earn commission per placement rather than on a fee value.
Yeah.
So as a consultant, you're much more likely to engage a talent manager to help you resource a role if you've got overfilled, if you've got too many roles, and you're going to fill more roles if they're doing the candidate work for you.
Yeah.
But you only lose £1,000 if you fee. Whereas if you
wait.
So if I split the fee with you,
you're
gonna have to. If as a consultant, you're gonna have to give me half the fee, aren't you? So you're gonna lose half the fee. So that's the way we did it to get people to use the talent managers. Plus, the talent manager's job isn't just to fill jobs; it's to manage our candidates, build relationships with them, keep them engaged, talk to them about what they're looking for, and give the candidates a better service, not just fire CVs at our consultants basically to fill jobs. They're our representatives to our candidate market.
When did you start that?
So I think Daisy was the first one. I think Daisy's been here 2 years.
So how many people have you got in that team now?
So it's just Daisy and Sarah at the moment.
Yeah.
But so Daisy looks after the food and non-food team, and Sarah looks after drinks.
So all they do, just to be clear, as a talent manager, it's the candidate experience.
Full candidate experience. So if I get a job on, they'll do. I mean, we headhunt. We like classical headhunting, not just sending messages on LinkedIn. So they do a lot of that. They do a lot of market mapping.
Okay.
So they're constantly working for our sort of our core customers. So let's say I've got a client who's in Surrey. Yeah. We will just constantly be mining within 25 miles of their office.
And that's all they do.
Yeah,
amongst obviously other things.
Yeah, so their targets are all about speaking to candidates, re-engaging candidates. So if we've registered somebody who's not been in touch for a while, they've not been in touch, just getting back in touch with them. We use HubSpot for a lot of our funnels, in re-engagement funnels. So those guys are all over that. Yeah. Working really closely with marketing to re-engage candidates.
Sorry, and then how have you structured the commission there? So I didn't understand that. So they get...
So a consultant gets paid on billings. They get a percentage of their billings. Whereas the talent managers, because they don't have as much control, it's all about the placement. But if you engage a talent manager on your search, so if you say, can you help me fill this job, whether their candidate fills it or not, or whether it's somebody you found, you've got to pay. You've got to pay them. So they get, and it's an increasing scale. So one placement's worth X amount, two's worth
X,
a bit more, 3, 4, 5. So if they make 4 placements a month, they generally get about $2,000, I think.
Yeah.
So they can 4 placements is pretty. That's their target.
So what's interesting there? So not everyone will use them. That's down to the consultant.
They do totally. I mean, the culture is there's no hard and fast rules. It's all cultural with us, so it's all about ownership and owning. So the whole sell on it is, and they all bought into this is, if you're using somebody else to do resourcing, you can take on twice as many roles. Yeah. So you make twice as many placements, and it's working.
So how is that? How does that actually impact? If someone's thinking, you know what, that actually, there's a couple of people in my office that actually would actually be really good at the delivery side, and maybe if they were to focus on that would actually enable. Like how has it actually impacted getting more candidates, filling more jobs?
Oh, it's huge. So what we've found recently, that included with a couple of other changes that we've made. Yeah, we worked it out this year. We're not getting as many interviews. Okay, but we're making a lot more placements because our quality is so much higher. Our ratios are so much better, and it's because the talent managers can spend more time with the candidates.
Because that's all they're focused on.
Because that's all they're focused on. So when a talent manager comes to you and says, you need to put this person in for this job, let me tell you why. Rather than you having that half an hour on the phone call with them on an evening where you spoke to 20 other candidates and you've got your notes, but they've done a full video interview with them. Yeah. They've got that in front of them. They can sell that to you. You can then sell that to your client. So you don't need as many interviews in order to make the placement. So from an internal piece, it's miles better. But from a quality piece for our customers is, everybody wants to. They don't want to interview. Nobody wants to interview 6, 7 people. Yeah. 3 or 4 people's great. And as well, if you can have confidence in your recruiter that if he sends me 4 people, I'm going to hire one. Yeah. I mean, we're just over 3 to 1 now for everybody who's been here more than 6 months.
So what if? Okay, this sounds really interesting. If I'm looking at hiring someone to do this, what do you think are the sort of slight differences that you'd look for than a typical recruiter? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like the type of person would be slightly different. Yeah,
so I don't know if there's any difference, but they need to. So they need to have the skills like in terms of administration, organisation. But they need to be engaged, like passionate. Yeah,
what have you found? Really passionate
good
talent managers,
actual people, and really, really good listeners. And I know recruiters need to be good listeners. Yeah. But what they're trying to do is differentiate good from great with candidates. Yeah. Whereas as a recruiter, a lot of the time you're just trying to fill a job because you're up against 10 others. Whereas they can take a lot more time. But also, what you've got to be able to manage really well is the fact that you can't influence the process as much once you've passed that CV to your consultant and they've put it forward. So as a recruiter, you send the CVs, you can chase the client, you can influence, you can sell that candidate in again. The talent managers can't do that. So they've got to have confidence in their team. Yeah. So you've got to be able to manage that within you, not be like kicking everybody's arse every 5 minutes, and be understanding as like some clients take longer to come back and that type of thing. So so there's a bit of that, but I think
communication is key then.
Yeah, but also but just being so much more good because, like as I say, a lot of it's re-engagement, and it's not just about finding candidates for jobs. It's about managing that database of candidates and keeping them engaged and giving them a good experience with us. Because we're mad into feedback loops. So making sure that that feedback is as good as it can be. You've got to be really quality focused, so it's not just a volume game.
Yeah.
But to be fair, our recruiters aren't like that either. But I'm just trying to sort of differentiate from other recruiters. I mean, I worked at Hayes for a long time, and that was.
No, I think that's really interesting. So
it was all based on how many CVs out, how many send out, so many vacancies.
But that's had a big impact on your business, it seems like.
Yeah, really. I mean, our quality is just through the roof compared to last year.
What it was.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the way we want to go. We're very, very niche in what we do.
Yeah.
Every consultant recruits pretty much one role.
Yeah.
So, national account managers or technical managers or supply chain managers, they all focus on that
Have
one
you
role.
always been like that?
Yeah, I'm all about specificity.
Yeah,
I think it's key.
Why is that so important in today's world?
I think because you've got so many online tools and stuff,
Yeah.
you've got to build networks. And if you build a network, if I try to build a generalist network, my message will get lost in it, and it doesn't resonate with enough people. Whereas I predominantly recruit national accounts. So all the content I'm creating and all the messages I'm creating
To those people.
it's directed directly at them, and hopefully it'll impact them, and they'll relate to it, so they're more likely to engage with me. Whereas if I was recruiting supply chain managers and technical managers and marketeers and everything,
The message get lost.
yeah, it's just I've got to be so much more generic with my messaging.
Yeah.
Whereas I like to sort of focus in. I mean, I
Really
do it.
niche.
Yeah, I mean, I believe massively in social media.
Yeah.
I post a lot, and I get good engagement, and I believe it's the way forward, and I think we've embraced that. But I think
Niche is important.
the niche is super important. It's like you want to build a network, and you want to be the go-to guy. So if a sales director rings me up, I can generally guarantee him I'll have a shortlist from him in 48 hours. If it's a national account manager in the UK, in one of the major population hubs, which generally is our home-based role, I will get you 5 CVs you want to interview within 48 hours. Because we know the market so well, and we know the candidates, and we know who's good, and because we only recruit that role, and we've been doing it for so long, you know the difference between good and great. So I know what good looks like. I know what great looks like in a national account manager. I know what they do. I get them in to train the staff on what it is their job is to do. So I think it's that expertise, and that's what people want.
So over the last sort of 18, 24 months, mate, you've grown the business quite a lot. How important has it been for you to sort of build that layer beneath you? Like because obviously, the people that I've been with today, future leaders, obviously you got another chap that's been with you longer, haven't you? Who's more of a leader underneath you.
Yeah, so the structure's pretty much now, you've got me and Sam, who own the company, and then within our leadership team, there's me, Sam, Aidan, and Dan. So Aidan's heads up our drinks team. Aidan was Dan and Aidan, and they're not in these positions because of this, but they're our first number 1 and number 2 employees.
Really?
Yeah, Dan was our first ever hire. He heads up marketing. And then Aidan came in, and they've both just smashed it. So, and they're both bought in. They're on the journey.
Yeah.
They will become full directors, hopefully next financial year.
Yeah.
So they'll be put on the board officially.
Yeah.
We're just going through all those.
How
details
important
now.
has it been to have those people?
Massive.
Get that concrete that they're leaders. They're bought into
Well, they're both very good at what they do. So I don't think we'd keep them.
Really?
As much as I'd consider them good friends now.
You thought they'd just do their own thing, or?
Well, they're ambitious guys. If I can't create an opportunity for them, I'd be like, you need to leave. Because, I can't deliver what you need, and you're better than the job you're in now. So I've got to keep creating opportunities to keep them here, and that's the way I see it. Because, they're in it for them, aren't they? They're not in it for me. Their life,
and the purpose
of their life isn't to facilitate me.
When did you start really cultivating that?
It's just what I've always been. It's for me, it's always been, you've got to create those layers, because that's how you keep people, because you create opportunities for them. And we can't create opportunities for people without that layer of management. I can't grow the business because there's only so many people I can manage directly, and Sam can manage, and Aidan can manage. So we need to put this tier of this managers in now. So we've got 5 people who are on the Future Leaders programme. And their job is, over this year, is to take as much training as we can afford to give them. And we've got loads set up for them. Show us that they're ready. Lead from the front. Be ambassadors for our culture. And as soon as we can, we'll
put people on.
Put people underneath them. And a couple of them have already got reports, and we're building that structure in. But what we're not going to do is, typical recruiter. Oh, you had a good year. There's 4 staff. Go manage them and still bill me 250 grand a year, because it's just you're just on a road to failure there. So for me, it's about doing it properly, making sure that they can deliver in their marketplace and add that extra.
How did you identify those people? If I'm listening right now, and like how, I don't know, obviously you've got to judge these people, but how did you identify those people to invest in?
I did them all individually, so they've all got different skills. So Ben, for example, is just, he's a great coach, he's a great mentor, he's a great listener. He's got time for everybody. So I think from that point of view, he is a natural manager.
Yeah.
His development area is to be a bit more ruthless.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
Yeah.
Because he's one of those people who's just genuinely lovely. Sarah's just a workhorse. Nothing's ever too much. She's so organised. She's on it. She's bright. She's just like the perfect employee. So Sarah needs that opportunity in order to say, hold her up and that's how you should be doing it. And I know if I give her the opportunity to manage people, she'll absolutely smash it out of the park. So everybody's got their individual skills.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I could have put 8 people on.
Really?
I don't think there's anybody in the business that I don't look at and think you'll lead a team or you won't be here next year or anything like that. So
how important was it to speak to these people about what this can mean long term? Like besides the management and stuff, are you talking to them about what that looks like for them in terms of being part of the business long term, 5-10 years? Like that's, I don't know, is that important to speak to people like that?
I think for them it is. Imagine if somebody came to you and they were like, right, we're going to put you through this program because we really believe in you and we think you're going to be a really important part of this business. And everybody knows what our goals are now, so where we want to be, how big we want to be. And obviously they know what structure, we've got the structure planned out in terms of sort of what that's going to look like. So they know that from where they are now, if everybody achieves what they need to achieve in 5 years' time, what their role will look like and what their earning potential will be, what their scope
when did you do
of
that?
their role. It's always been, we're always updating it and we're always feeding it back. And to be honest with you, we get a lot of input from those guys.
Really?
So so like, what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah. That's awesome. No, I just think if I'm a small business right now, I think if you haven't got sort of those people in your business or cultivating that, you need to, don't you? Like,
I think what a lot of people do is they try to be like a big company before they are a big company. So they try to have all these sort of layers of management and like this hierarchy of like, I only talk to the person below me and then they talk to the person. I think when you're in a small business, you've just got to throw all that out of the window. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I'm sat opposite the most junior person in the company. It's not like I'm not going to talk to them. And, they're as important to me as anybody else. So, I want to share what we're doing with them. Yeah. There's no need to have like layers of hierarchy and layers of ego and all that sort of stuff. Like, I'm more important than you. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're that small. Everybody's still, all the billers, we all still bill money. We've all got the same fee target. There's no sort of different fee targets at different levels. Everybody's got to make the same amount of money. We've got to make the same amount of placements. Everybody knows what everybody else is doing. It's all transparent. So there's no need for anybody to have ego. It's just some people have got different roles within that family, really.
So going through obviously the last 18, 24 months, would you do anything differently, do you think?
Just thought you were going to ask me this. I was trying to think about the little things.
Go on.
But I'm just trying to think. No, not actually. Probably wouldn't have spent as much money in Ibiza as we did. Yeah, it got a bit out of hand on the money. We went to that Ocean Beach Club and that was so expensive. Was it? Like the biggest amount of money I've ever spent.
Really?
But but they deserved it. I mean, we smashed it last year in terms of sort of fees generated. So so it was well deserved. But it's still, I'm like a council estate from Leeds. Spending sort of thousands on drinks and stuff. It just hurts me. I'm a Yorkshireman. It hurts me.
But anything you did different? Anything that you think could have, I don't know. Anything that you think could have had maybe you wish you did it earlier, or I don't know. Anything that's coming up for you?
No, I think I don't have regrets as such, and I think there's things that we might change. Yeah. And sort of aspects of the business that we might change and different directions we might go in. But I'm delighted with where we are. I thank my lucky stars every day that I'm in this position. So, I don't think there's nothing I would change apart from one hire. Yeah, we were talking about him earlier. Yeah. He was just wrong on every level. Yeah. And I thought I could make something decent out of him. And I was just wrong. Yeah, he was just the wrong. So he's probably my only regret, really.
How has this journey been for you personally, mate? What's that been like? Has that been tough?
Yeah, it's been pretty mental actually. So I literally my daughter Marty, she pretty much like was born like just after we set the company up. So it's like that's why it was my motivation to do it. So that was a struggle.
Was there a factor of like if you don't do it now, when you're going to do it?
You've got no option. I had to deliver. So the where I was at as an employee of a company, from what I wanted to deliver for my family on a personal level. Not like needed to, but just wanted to, create for my family. It just I was never going to be able to do that. And that's not just financial, but that's in terms of like, I drop my daughter at school every morning. If I want to go hang out with her, I'll just literally just say, right, I'm off. See you later. I'm leaving at 3 or whatever it might be. And I'll go get her from nursery. So I get to spend loads of time with her, which is that's just awesome. So that's really, really good. Really hard. The first 2 years, she just didn't sleep. So I didn't sleep for 2 years. That was hard when you're setting a company up. And so I literally lived on Red Bull for like 2 years.
Oh,
it was tough, but it's worth it. It was worth it. So that was difficult. But other than that, it sounds really big-headed, but it's been fairly straightforward. It's not actually been, the hardest thing.
You don't need to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, we try to keep it simple. Focus on our customers, deliver for them, stick to what you know, don't try to be everything to all men, don't sort of try to, fill every job, go in, focus on the jobs you can fill. Yeah, and just do well for your customers, and just don't over egg what you're capable of doing, and be satisfied with what you can achieve, rather than, I want to be a £10 million company when you're turning over 300 grand. It's like, well, what's the next step? So we're 300 grand now. How do we get to 5? We're at just over, we're like £1.5 million now. So our next goal is how do we get to 2.5, and how do we maintain the profit at a reasonable level that we can then get to 5? And it's all that sort of thing. So, that's what it's all about for me. It's just continuing it. I don't think we'll ever sell the company. I'm not in it for like a 5-year exit.
I think that helps you make better decisions on like the decision to invest put loads of money back into the business.
Yeah, we've got no debt. I don't think we'll ever borrow money. I'd rather just take a bit longer. And I know that's like there'll be people out there going, "Oh, you need to scale your business and take loads of money."
I think that's
I just don't want anybody to be able to tell us how to do it.
I think what's clear, mate, is that you're someone that you enjoy what you're doing. And
I love it.
Here. That's the most important thing, right? I think scale, more people, whatever. Like, are you enjoying what you're building?
Yeah, if it ever gets to the point where it's like, oh right, I would, if it got to like 100 people, that'd be pretty cool. I think now, but I might hate it. Yeah. And at that point, I probably would sell and just start again.
Yeah.
Get it to like 10, 15, 20, keep it like that. Yeah, I love recruitment. I love the job. I see myself as a recruiter. I don't see myself as an MD or anything like that. I'm a recruiter first and foremost, and I have another job. That is to basically help everybody else do what they need to do. I'm sure there'll come a time where we might be a bit bigger, and I've like literally reached my level, and I might have to bring in somebody to tell me what to do every day, and run the business.
Right. Quick one, mate, before we finish. So just on that point, I think just real practical advice, just because you've been through it. If I'm a business owner right now and I'm thinking about just that scaling period of 10 to 20 heads or whatever, like you've gone through, and I know that's going to hit the profits, like what we expect, what should I expect realistically, that in terms of what could hit, how could that impact my profit, like what sort of percentage are we talking that it impacted your business?
Yeah, I'd say so. Our profit percentage is probably about 10% down.
Yeah, 10%. Yeah, so you work towards experiencing or having between 10 to 15% profit down.
All those hires, and it's starting to shift now because those guys are now starting to bed in, and they're starting to be profitable rather than the. But
if you had a really good year, you're like, right, I want to really put a lot of this back into the business, going to involve hiring, blah blah blah. Yeah, plan for at least 10 to 20%.
Yeah, for at least 6 months. But also, don't panic and fire the people you've hired because they're not making you enough money, and you've got this profit number in your head. I've got to make 50% margin, net margin or whatever it might be, whatever that number is in your head. Like I say, as long as you've got a goal in mind in terms of sort of where you want to be, from in the long term. Focus on that goal rather than on month by month. Last month we made 56% margin, and this year we've made 42, and it's this month we've made 42 compared to last year. So Is it really matter? Does it really matter? You are not Procter and Gamble. You know, you've not got, you know, you're not on the FTSE 100. You've not got shareholders. It's not going to affect your share price. And unless you're planning to sell, it's like your house. If your house goes down in value, it only matters if you want to sell it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's about investing in your company and your people and hiring the right people, and then backing them to deliver and accepting that might cost you a bit of money over 6 months.
I think that's really good advice. It's like, know where you want to be with that investment and what you're putting in over the next 3-5 years. So then, when you do notice that there's a bit of a hit, like that's not hitting you hard, and you're not just focusing on the short term. Do you know what I mean? It's going to help you see it through, right?
You know, who's ever hired anybody? You hear stories, don't you? Like consultants come in first year, they bail $250,000, and you're like, how? You know, I've never met one. You know, your first year, if you make 50% of your annual target, you're laughing at you if you've got no experience in recruitment. Well, so you've got to expect that they're going to make 50% of the profit that you want them to make if they're only going to build 50% of the money.
I shared an episode with a chap called Tom, is a property recruiter, and he did 200 and what is it? 250.
I saw this one.
Yeah, maybe like 215 in his first year, right? But he's like nearly like 6 years in now.
And has he ever repeated it? Has he ever done better?
That's been his best year. That is just mental, isn't it?
He's
your
crazy.
First year
Crazy.
is your best year.
I think I did 94 grand in my first year at Ellis Fairbank. Anybody old will remember Ellis Fairbank. So
look, 1 or 2 questions before we finish, mate. Final questions. Have an event coming up with the podcast, all about resilience. What does resilience in recruitment mean to you, mate?
I'd always call it bounce back ability.
Bounce back ability.
Yeah, and that's just an old term I was taught when I first started out. It's almost like you've almost not got to care. It's like you do. Obviously, you care. Yeah. But you've almost got to be in a position where you know it's something's going to go wrong. Yeah. You know, who's ever had a recruit? All the recruiters are listening to this. Has anybody ever gone from, you know, job in to fill with no hurdles? Yeah. It just doesn't happen. There's always something. There's something in the contract. You know, they can't make the interviews and you've got big gaps. There's always something. And the thing I try to explain to everybody else is if you've ever got one job on or one chance to make a fee that month and it doesn't come in, you shouldn't be surprised. You know, give yourself it's really easy to build resilience if you've got 10 things at final interview. And you know, if you land 5 of them, you're laughing. Some months you might land 10. You know, so in terms of sort of building that resilience, it's like you've just got to expect the worst to happen. Yeah. And you've got to remember we're dealing with like so much out of our control. Yeah. You know, we can't make people hire people. We can't make people take jobs, and we should never try because that's not what people are paying us to do. What can people do to sort of start instilling that in their teams? Anything that you do, or I don't think you can make somebody resilient. No, but what I think you can do is help them reduce the amount of resilience they need by having more in their pipeline. So everybody knows that recruiter's only ever got one candidate in for a job. Oh. You know, there's one candidate wonder, so they've got 10 jobs.
No, but he's the one.
It's like, I've got 10 send-outs this week, and it's like, it's 10 jobs, so they've got one candidate in every job, and it's like, there's a really good likelihood they won't make any fees that month. They won't make any placements. So first of all, they're giving us customers a crap service because it's like they're literally one candidate wonder. But they're just always setting themselves up for failure. So it's like that person, their focus should always be halve the number of jobs you work in and put more good people into the jobs, focus more on getting more quality into less jobs. Yeah. You know, until you're able to fill 10 jobs with 3 great candidates or 5 great candidates in each one. So then you don't need to be as resilient. You don't need to deal with disappointment as much. But I think it's natural, isn't it?
Yeah. Anything that you're excited about, mate? Obviously going into the new financial year very soon, but anything you want to shout about?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me is grocery aid this at the moment. So I was really, really chuffed last year. They asked me to sort of join the Northern Branches committee. So I've sort of bedded myself in now, and I'm currently like tasked with arranging our annual golf day, which raises money for the charity. Where our big bet this year is Barcode Festival. Which is the grocery industry. It's run by Grocery Aid. It's a big festival, one-day festival. Yeah. Loads of the big suppliers, Heineken's and people like that come in, do massive activations. Yeah. The whole industry goes. We've got 4,000 people going this year. Oh, wow. We support the festival.
It in Leeds?
It's in London. It's down near the docks. Hawker House was last year. Okay. But they've moved it to a bigger venue this year.
You're involved with that?
So yeah, so we support Grocery Aid by basically doing all their social media for them, sort of free of charge. So we do all that for them. So we shift a lot of tickets for them. But we've sponsored the event this year and got ourselves a big tent area. So we're going to use that as our big client day. So we've got 50 tickets.
That's exciting.
So if there are any FMCG sales directors listening, want a ticket to Barcode, give us a vacancy.
That's exciting.
So that's our big bet this year, our big marketing bet. So that's really important to me. But this future leaders thing, I'm just really excited about where they're going to be.
Yeah, that's
in like 6 months' time. We've got some great. So obviously you're supporting us on that. I've got. We had Mr. Benjamin Denner here, the UK's most hated sales trainer. We took a team to see him recently. That was amazing. I've never come out of a training course knowing that I'm a lot shitter than I thought I was before I went in. I was like, I'm a good salesman. I know how to sell. I've been on the... that guy just ripped me to pieces.
Wicked.
And then we've got loads of sort of leadership training and everything else. So I'm really excited.
Your people progress.
Yeah, and I've just got loads. And I'm just like what they're getting out of it. Like everybody seemed buzzing today when they come out of there and was after the session with you. So I think that's going to be really the next step for me is more... How can I turn consultants into leaders and give them opportunities? And, down the line, who knows if they want their own businesses, we might be able to help them out with that as well.
Wicked, mate. Final question. Tom could communicate to every single recruiter out there, business owner, phrase, word. What would you say to these people, mate, if they'd listen and take on your advice?
Just focus on your customer. Deliver. It's deliver for your customers. Stop worrying about how much money you're making. Yeah?
Nice.
Just focus on filling jobs with great candidates and you'll literally have nothing else to worry about. It's that simple. It is the simplest job in the world.
Tom, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Cheers, mate.